Ooh yeah, JuiceMan Benji here, and welcome to how Spider-Man PS4 can become the best superhero game ever. Now, how do you make the best superhero game ever? Making you feel like a superhero is the obvious answer, but what are the essential components for a fun and memorable superhero game experience? A good story is always important. Facing a large amount of villains that each offer a different challenge is vital. What about missions that make full use of the powers and gadgets at your disposal, sprinkled with some puzzle solving along the way? Wait, hold on. The Batman Arkham series already has these features, especially with Arkham City. So, what's the point of this video? Well, the bar has been set by Rocksteady, and there's always room to raise it. Enter Spider-Man, the only other superhero to have a decent video game record. Now, with Insomniac in charge of the web slinger's next game, I strongly believe that this is our best chance of getting the greatest Spider-Man game, as well as potentially the greatest superhero game of all time. As a huge Spider-Man fan myself, I've come up with a list of features that Insomniac should include that would put this upcoming game at the top of my list amongst every Spider-Man game that has existed. Let's begin with the environment. Now this is where Spidey has a clear-cut advantage over Batman, because we're not going to be reduced to just playing at night. We can play in any time of day and in any season. And since the setting of this game is obviously New York, a place that in real life has experienced all types of weather conditions, it won't be a bad idea to have all types of weather conditions in a Spider-Man game. Personally, I've always wanted to web sling through intense snowfall or vicious thunderstorms. It will just add an extra level of excitement and realism to missions set outside. And quite frankly, it will look damn epic. Next on my list is the ability to seamlessly switch between Spider-Man and Peter Parker. We've had the chance of playing as Peter Parker in past Spider-Man games, but trust me, nothing would be better than changing into your costume during a Peter Parker mission in a seamless fashion to go and fight crime. And the reason why I think this is important to have is because we've not seen it before, plus it just makes you feel more like Spider-Man, and it gives you more of a glimpse of being a superhero, because they don't choose when to fight crime, the crimes just come up to them randomly, so then they've got to stop what they're doing and go on to save the day. Something like this might be a bit of a tricky gameplay mechanic to implement, but it could work by offering specific areas within the city where you're least likely to be seen, but very common around the map, such as an alleyway or a rooftop, which can be marked on your minimap. And once you change into your superhero gear, the Peter Parker mission you are currently on will be paused until you obviously finish your side mission, and then it will pop back up once you change back. Moving on to my third feature, which is destructible environments. Now I think it's going to be a bit unrealistic and a bit chaotic to ask for the type of destruction we see in games like Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, or Just Cause. However, if there were parts of the city that were destructible, let's say like a scaffolding or a glass-built bus stop, it would make city-based battles during missions a lot more tense, especially if you come up against villains like Green Goblin or Shocker. And if civilian casualties existed in the game, then those type of villains could exploit that and make things more difficult. Talking about villains, what's better than facing one major villain per level? Well, facing two villains at the same time? Why not? Villain team-ups always happen in comic books, so why not in a video game? How about we go all out and just face the entire Sinister Six in one go? Something like that would be perfect for a final mission of a game like this. And let's face it, we're always tasked with fighting one villain at a time, but it would be refreshing and a unique challenge to try and overcome more than one member of Spider-Man's rogues gallery at the same time, instead of just a villain and his disposable goons like we always get. It's pretty clear by now that this game is set in an open world, but even in open world games we do need indoor missions, and having the chance to play within that sort of environment offers a great alternative and can offer more focused gameplay. Due to this, there's less chance of the game becoming repetitive. Even though Spider-Man is a character best utilised in an open space, which the majority of this game would be set, I don't know about you guys, but some of my favourite battles in Spider-Man video games actually took place in an enclosed space. such as the showdown with Shocker subway battle in the 2002 Spider-Man movie game, or that encounter against Hammerhead in Shattered Dimensions. Since there's less space to swing away from danger, you would be forced to approach a fight more strategically and cautiously. Now let's talk about online multiplayer. I think something like this would be a first in a Spider-Man game, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've gone with this because there's so much emphasis on online multiplayer these days. So why not, if done right of course, have an online mode where one group of Spider-Men is pitted against a group of villains? It could provide all sorts of chaos and fun. I do have a few ideas for a feature like this, such as a domination style mode where the heroes have to protect a specific area or a specific item in which the villains have to take over or destroy. I was also thinking about a deathmatch style mode, but that might not make sense in this context, since the villains would most likely have firearms. However, if the villains were armed with guns, I'd have a rule where the villains are only allowed to shoot the heroes within a certain distance from them and would have limited ammo, whereas the heroes would have special abilities where they could evade and dodge those attacks from the villains, which means that if you're a villain, you would have to use your ammo wisely. There's so many modes that could work in this type of game. Like, one player could take the role of Spider-Man and your friend could take the role as Rhino, and the latter has to try and destroy as many cars in the city before he can be stopped. Or what about a race through the streets of New York? Instead of having one person complete a race by themselves and then their friend has to beat that time, why not have them both race at the same time, and then they could try and fight each other or try and create obstacles during that race, a bit like Mario Kart. And if a multiplayer mode was actually put in this game, then they should definitely have co-op missions where you can do something similar to zombies, or just hang out and just do random side missions together. Alrighty, we're moving on to my penultimate point, which is combat. And with this one, I don't think we need anything new. For me, I'd be okay with a combination of some of the combat systems we saw in past Spider-Man games, especially the recent one we had from Beanox, where it kind of combined the Arkham series' combat system with a bit of Mexican wrestling. And of course, on top of that, there are a lot of cool web-based attacks. So if we had that combined with the wall combat from Web of Shadows and the upgrade system from the Spider-Man 2 movie game, then I think we'd pretty much end up with something perfect. Okie dokie, now on to my last point, which is costumes, but with bonus powers. And I say with bonus powers because usually in all the Spider-Man games that I've ever played, we have access to a wide range of costumes, but they're all just there as a show, and you can't really do anything else with them. So what I was thinking was, why not have the access to each of the special abilities that each costume gives us? For instance, the original Spider-Man costume has a spider signal and a tracer. I'm sure they could be useful during missions. Then alongside the original Spider-Man suit, we have the symbiote suit, which adds strength and unlimited webbing. We also have the Iron Spider suit, where we can fight enemies with mechanical arms and also make use of the cloaking device. And lastly, we could have the Spider Armor costume, where it has infrared and X-ray sensors, which could be perfect for stealth missions. Well, that's about it from my list. Now, what would you like to see in the next Spider-Man game? Especially those of you that are really anticipating this game. Feel free to comment your thoughts. And who knows, Insomniac might find it, and they might end up putting it in the final game. You never know. Anyways, thanks for watching my video and listening to my views on my list. Did you like them, dislike them? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this and other gaming videos, well, the subscribe button is there for the clicking. See you later, folks.